Hello, this is Mama Q again, and today I'm going to show you how to switch colors while single crocheting. Today I am going to work with blue and pink, and I'm going to do a simple Q on a square. So I have what I've figured out on graph paper. Well, I improvised some graph paper and I counted out my squares, so I know I need 13 stitches across, and so I'm going to chain 13 plus 1 for the beginning turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then 14. And so what I do is, as soon as I've got my chain the length I need it, I pull my second color and I tie it onto my working yarn, just to anchor it down. And then I push it up against the chain, like so. So I've got my working yarn here, my second color here, and then my chain here. And so it already lays kind of up against. And so for my pattern, I've got one complete row of the first color, and so I just hold the second color up against the chain and single crochet into this second stitch to start, just like normal. And I have the pink up against the chain here so that it lays underneath the single crochet, and this little tail here doesn't matter because we'll weave in that end once we're done. So I'm just going to single crochet all the way across with my second color just nestled in there up against the chain and in between the single crochets. And I'm just going to go all the way across with the second color just nestled up there so that it's ready when we're ready to use it. Up against the chain, and we're single crocheting. And see if you can see that the yarn is in between your working stitch, and that's where it's going to stay until you're ready to use it. So you just work your chain across, and the first chain is always the hardest, just because you got to work into the stitch and keep the second color up against the chain. And I've gotten to the end of my first row of single crochets, and you can see that the pink is under there, but you really can't see it. And from the back, you really can't see it either. It's kind of poking through, but you can't really see it. It's just nestled all in there nice and good. Okay, and so once you get to the end and you need to chain one and turn, you want to make sure that your yarn is pointed up to the sky. Your second yarn that you're not working with yet. Just point it up to the sky, and then you've got your working yarn here, and you're just going to chain one and see how see how it was pointed up to the sky, so now it's kind of in between the chain one. You can't really see it because it's in between there, because I put it up to the sky. And then I did my chain one, and now I turn my work, and then I keep the pink yarn up against the chain again. And so for my cue, I have to count my across. So I have 13. Row 13 is blank, so it's just blue. And then, so I start here, work across, come up. So 2 stitches are going to be blue, and then 1 stitch is going to be pink, and then the rest of the line is going to be blue. So I'll show you how to do this. So you got your chain 1, and then you're going to work 2. So you got your pink up against, you got your working here. So you go into your stitch, and just like before, you've got the pink laid up against the chain. You're just going to pretend like it's another loop that you just got to go over. So you'll single crochet over it. You can kind of pull it tight so that it doesn't poke through. See how it was poking through over here? I just pull that tight and you can't see it anymore. And then I do my second. I go under, so on the second is where I'm going to change my color. So I pretend like I'm going to do a single crochet plain with the blue. I go into my stitch and hook over and pull up, and then instead of hooking over and pulling through with the blue, I hook the new color and pull it through, so that I've completed the single crochet in blue, but then I have a loop and a working of the second color. And then I lay the non-working color up against the chain, so that it'll be nestled in, just like the pink was. And so I'm going to do 1 single crochet of the pink. So like, instead of hooking over and pulling through for a single crochet, since I'm changing colors mid-stitch, I'm going to pull through with the second color. And see how it makes 1 single crochet of the second color, and then you have the loop and the working of the next color. And then I single crochet across with my blue, and just have the pink nestled up against, so that it stays underneath my single crochets. And if it gets all twisted like that, you can just kind of untangle your balls. And then keep going. So I'm just going to keep going with my single crochets. And I keep that pink yarn up against, so that it stays underneath the stitches. And I keep pulling it because it wants to bunch up underneath the stitches, so you want to keep kind of pulling it tight, and that's why I anchored it down so that I can pull it tight and it won't pull out. And then I'm to my end stitch again, so I do my single crochet, and then I flip it, point the second color up to the sky, and I chain one, pull it kind of tight, and turn. And now I'm going to be on my second row. And see how when you turn it backwards, the work doesn't look that horrible. And you'll see once I go farther along how the reverse doesn't look a tangled mess. So on my pattern here that I've kind of done up with graph paper, the third line I'm working from this way now. So 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets across, and then start with 6 of the second color. So I'm going to do my 4 single crochets. So that'll be 2, 3, 4. Okay. And so now on the 4th, just like before, I go under my stitch and pull it through, but instead of hooking over and pulling through for the single crochet, I pull up and work the second color through that loop. So I complete the second single crochet and I have the new color, and then I nestle the non-working color up against, and then I work my 6 across. 1, 2, 3, and I just keep pulling it so that I make sure it lays down flat. 5, and then here's number 6, so I go in like before, up, and then I pull the next color up and through, and then leave the second color up against the chain, like so, and then work my next color across. You want to make sure you don't get it so tight that you can't get your hook in there. Okay. So do your second. I got my balls twisted again, so I untwist them so that I can point my second color up to the sky. And oh, I had it right the first time, under. Point it up to the sky, and yarn over. Oh, hold on, that's my problem. It didn't go under. There we go. And if you ever see that it's not doing what it should be doing, you got something going on. So you want to make sure that you get your stitches right and you get the color where it needs to be. Like here, it wasn't underneath like it should have been. Okay, there we go. Now I can point it up to the sky. And then work my chain 1 and turn. You can see how that's working across. I'm starting to make my Q with the different color. You can see how it looks on both sides. It doesn't look all tangled and messy. And then I'll just keep going with my pattern until I'm finished. Changing colors and going around and just following. And that is how you change colors while working through the stitch.